Welcome back to Balance Boldly, the podcast where we get bold about our balance and campaign to shake the shame that stunts our growth. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, balance and relationship advisor for bold women in business and a few brave men. This season is brought to you by our power partner and season sponsor, Spreaker.com. As a product of the product, the Balance Boldly podcast utilizes Spreaker's high-quality tools to create, host, distribute, and measure our show. With the use of their easy-to-use iOS and Android mobile apps, podcasters and internet radio show hosts are able to record and store their valuable content and share across multiple networks like iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and more. For more information, visit Spreaker.com. Well, this is a farewell to the end of season 1 on all things commitment challenges. It has been a roller coaster ride of learning so much about ourselves on every single level that you can imagine. We went from our featured guests such as Meredith Bell talking about relationship traps and how to deal with that in the professional workspace between leaders and entrepreneurs and business owners, through truth about our triggers and developing the right rituals, routine. Jen Albert was on from Learn Savvy, an amazing woman and fantastic CEO who really talked about the importance of creating filter and flow, all the way through learning to trust ourselves and discerning our ability to tap into what is the most important thing about us, including trusting our own selves and delivering whatever that truth is in the boldest way we can. In this particular episode that we're going to be talking about soon with a very incredible woman, Sacred Walker, who has, I would say, at least 5 degrees between her degrees and certifications, has traveled the world and just wrapped up an amazing fellowship that she just graduated from. Before I introduce you guys to her a little while later in this episode, I really want to take an opportunity to touch on why I decided to end season 1, which the whole theme of it was around our commitment issues, those things that add and subtract from our ability to get things done. You know, the things that really matter to us, whatever adds up to giving us the best chance at having a quality life and a balanced day. You know, I always say, enjoy the balance of your day. I really mean that. I want you to have the best opportunity of focusing on what really matters to you and being able to manage that. You're not going to handle every single thing perfectly, but being able to enjoy the process along the way. And I decided to end this season with reclaiming your inner goddess. Partially, that's why I chose Sacred Walker to come in and talk about that a little bit later on again in the show, because she is pretty incredible at it, quite dynamic actually. But also because all the things that we've been talking about thus far, trust and discernment and relationships and filtering and being bold, it's relevant to the recipe that you need in order to be committed to what's the most important part of you, including reclaiming yourself. So many of us have gotten lost in our expectations of what we should have, could have done. Back in the day, I was supposed to be a pediatrician with a psychology practice on the side, or, I told myself that I was going to, be married with 2 kids, a dog and a cat and a hamster, by a certain age, or I was going to have this or that. And of course, none of those things apply. I'm just kind of making that up, minus the pediatric part of it. Can't even say it straight, because that really was what I said. I was going to be a pediatrician with a psychology practice on the side when I was younger. And I broke that expectation of myself when I hit college, and I really didn't enjoy the med school part of what I was doing. I really didn't care about it. I was acing it. I was really good at it, and I didn't like it. And I had to make a decision to break that expectation of myself, to hold myself to something, this previous passion that I was no longer interested in. And yes, was that breaking a commitment? Absolutely. But was it one of the better decisions of my life? Absolutely, times 10. And part of it was because I was at least tapped in enough. I wasn't all the way tapped in, as a freshman in school, but I was definitely tapped into enough to know that I didn't want to waste 4+ years going through something just because I said I was going to do it, holding on to an expectation to myself that I was going to prove that I would be so different from everyone around me that it basically put in a box of being on the opposite end of what the qualities of a pediatric physician and a psychologist held for me in my mind, that measure of success to be able to really help people and make money and live a great life while doing it. And I'm able to do that in a different way now. Am I where I want to be? Absolutely not. Am I where I'm supposed to be? Nope. But I'm on my road. And the reason is because I'm reclaiming myself. What does Naketa Thigpen really want? What do you really want? Not just what do you need? You need to pay the bills. You need to make sure that your family is safe and secure and that you travel to and fro without too much incident and that you're as healthy as possible, which many of us don't do that because our expectation of business and what we're supposed to make, on the back end, keeping those dollars moving and going, that hustle often affects our ability to take that time and be unapologetic about giving ourselves permission to literally pause. And you guys know I talk about that over and over and over again, but it's so important. You have to be forgiving of yourself and say, it's okay for me to sit down and take a moment and just unwind, to put my feet up, to not think about what I'm supposed to be thinking about, to not think about how many other things I could possibly be doing in this moment, to not think about the woes of the day or even the successes that you're planning on. Sometimes you need to break from that too and just love you. That for me is what tapping into your inner goddess or your inner God is. Tapping into your spirit is really just loving the best parts of who you are. What makes you you beyond the external parts of, beauty marks and freckles and, dimples and all those things and green eyes and straight hair or kinky hair or whatever the case is. I'm not talking about that. Yes, those are distinguishers that the world sees, but what about the inner you? What about the part of you that says, I am more than capable, definitely deserving, and absolutely worthy of finishing what's important? I do a whole bunch of lessons around learning how to quit. And it sounds the opposite of, commitment, right? We want to make sure we're on the continuum of choosing the right things and committing to them. But I often will teach people there is a method to learning to quit, because when you see something is not serving you, it's not along the path of what really is going to make you happy. It's not even a part of the process and you already know it. Don't just keep doing it, quit it. Make room for the thing that you really should be doing that's a part of your preparation, that's much more in tune and in alignment with where you want to go on your path to greatness, whether that's, formulating a great family, a great marriage, a great relationship with your siblings that maybe you haven't had in a long time. With neighbors, you don't have to be the typical citizen of the world. I won't even say of the United States, but of the world where we no longer even know who our neighbors are. Knock on a door. If that's what you've always seen in your life is knocking on doors, borrowing sugar, taking over a basket to the new folk, do it. You don't have to wait for someone else to do it and that be the strange one that everyone's leery of. You can be that person. You can create your own reality and you can walk in alignment with whatever those new traits are that you want to exhibit to the world, because it's a part of your inner self and it's really only new to you in terms of the fact that you haven't really allowed yourself to embrace it before. It's already there. You've always wanted to touch it, but something in this world, something in the environment, maybe something in the midst of your circle has suppressed it and made you feel like that's odd or strange or awkward. Well, I say get awkward. Get a little awkward if that's how you have to get through to your inner self. That person that's hiding inside that professional shell is worthy of you being awkward to get to him or her. It's okay. I am a super quirky person and I don't make any apologies for it, but I used to apologize for the fact that I'm super visual and when I'm thinking and processing, and one of my gifts is problem solving. I design solutions to problems. when someone asks me something and I'm going in my head, my eyes dart all over the place. I look up at the ceiling and around because I'm literally like going into the file cabinets of my brain and I'm looking at those things and pulling things together to give them the best answer, the most creative explanation that preferably is in a way that's communicated in a way that they can digest it and receive it and not just the way that I see it. And I used to apologize for like, okay, I know that looked a little weird because I'm not looking at you and my hands are flying all over the place. And no, I don't have any Italian in me, which I know is a stereotype, but people would think that like you talk with your hands. Yes, I'm just uber expressive. I don't have a poker face, although some people might think so because I smile a lot, but that's just my disposition. I actually smile when I'm angry too. It's just me. It is who I am, and there's no apology for it. But I can do that now only because I've tapped into myself. I've learned how to quit the things that don't make sense and are no longer in alignment with where I want to go. Maybe they were in alignment with where I thought I needed to go back in the day when I was trying to, hold myself up to someone else's ruler because I thought I had to, ace this thing or add this thing or add, 5 extra things to round out my portfolio. Well, guess what? My CV written in short code is 12 pages. I don't need to add anything else. And that's not a brag. That's just a fact that I don't have to prove myself to anyone else the same way you don't have to prove yourself to anyone but yourself. Whatever that looks like. Forget degrees, forget certifications, forget, all the things that make you look great on paper. Paper is not why I want to give you a hug or shake your hand. Paper isn't going to be the thing that makes me feel safe in your presence or makes me want to have a conversation with you. Granted, whatever is on paper should, obviously hold you to a certain place. If I'm going to hand you money, I want to make sure that you've at least invested in yourself and you've invested in yourself to get those credentials or add that skill set to you. If I'm paying you for a skill set, if I, want to make sure that that's something that I need, especially if it's a higher dollar. But if you're a creative in a different way, if you're a book writer, if you're a speaker, I don't need you to have a certification to tell me that you speak well. I can hear it when you talk to me. I don't need you to have a certification for you to empower me or pick me up out of a low space and help give me the energy that I lost in whatever my day was. I do need you to have a certification if you're a therapist, if you're coming into my space to, help me deal with a rooted dysfunction. I do need you to have a certification if you're an accountant and you're helping me with my money, for sure. Those are different things. But outside of that, you don't need to be certified that you are worthy of being in this world, that you are worthy of friendship, that it's okay for you to smile at someone. You don't need paper to do that. You don't need paper to tell you when something that you were doing is no longer serving you, because you already know. You know it's not fitting your lifestyle anymore. You know it doesn't make you feel good. You know it feels like a chore. It feels like something that you're kind of aggressively resistant to, and it's coming out in your mood. It's affecting your family. It's vomiting all over your relationships. You know it, which is why you need to reassess and look at what are you committed to and why are you committed to it? The other part I would ask is why not break away from it, right? Like if it's not working, what's holding you back? Is it because somebody might say, oh, you failed because you dropped out of school, or who cares? Are they paying your tuition? If they're paying your tuition, then they have a right to have a conversation with some explanation. If they're not paying your tuition, if they're not paying your mortgage, your rent, your utilities, they're not bringing food to your table, if they're not driving you to and from that school every day or to that job every day, then they don't have a right to make you sit down and feel like you need to explain. I'm not talking about just conversational expression, but when you feel like you have to explain in a defensive way, no. And you need to be okay with that and forgive yourself for maybe the time that you feel like you wasted. If you feel like you wasted time, forgive yourself for that time, but embrace the fact that everything that you did thus far to that point actually is priceless and is saving you a ton more in energy and time and your strength going forward. So this is just a slight reminder to reclaim everything that's important to you, starting with what you want, not just what you need. I cannot express that enough. If you're a human being on this earth, you're going to get what you need at the end of the day. It's going to happen. Hopefully no one in your circle is going to ever let you go hungry, right? But what about what you want? What about what you desire? And our guest, our featured expert, Sacred Walker, who we're going to talk to in a minute, definitely digs down into that space and gives you some techniques of how she deals with it and how she teaches her clients to deal with it, as well as what kind of got her to this space of being able to embrace her own self and looking at what was happening in her life that was a sign that whatever she was doing was not serving her. And when it was time to move from that space of awkward, uncomfortable transition into action. So I thank you so much for listening to this. And I say stay right there because we'll be back with some amazing, incredible more information to help you balance boldly. This segment of Breaking Expectations is brought to you by Fresh Level Productions, a video marketing agency that helps you attract, engage, and convert prospects to clients, all with the power of video. Visit freshlevelpro.com to schedule a brainstorming session with a video marketing expert today. All right, welcome back to Balance Boldly. As always, I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, bringing you nothing less than amazingness. As I was stating earlier, I am super uber ridiculously excited about my sister girl, my friend, my business boo, Sacred. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. So before I get into the details, I need to tell you exactly who she is and what she means to me. This young lady, we met somewhere in Midtown Manhattan in New York. I want to say it was one of the executive clubs. It'll come back to me. I know we had an amazing time drinking tea, and I was eating all the brown M&Ms out of the candy because I convinced myself that it was less artificial color in that bunch than the others. So I was doing what I do, and we just connected immediately. The person who connected us, figured that because we're women in business and I was trying to expand in New York and Sacred is from New York and obviously doing great and amazing things, that she would be an incredible person for me to link with because she was honest and open and transparent. And if nothing else, would let me know if she had herself been someone that wanted to connect with me and kind of build and share referral partners and that kind of thing, let alone participate in any of the coaching circles or events and, building business with balance things that I had going on at the time. And we just connected at such a spiritual level in so many ways, to the point. Now, you guys know how I am about my boundaries. I'm very serious about boundaries. We can kiki it all up, but at the same time, there is a wall that is there on purpose to make sure that I filter the right people in and push the wrong people out. And Sacred just slipped on right through that thing, right through that wall so naturally, because we connected in a way that was definitely like friends that had just caught back up and who hadn't seen each other in a long time, and not in a inappropriate way where sometimes you get too girlfriendy too quick and then you never get to the business. We were able to separate, which as women in business, which many of you are, and for even the men out there who are listening to this, you know how easy it is to go from, yes, we're going to, talk business, talk shop, and then it turns just into social and you never get to the business. And as good as that might feel, having these kind of these pro friends, as I call them, these professional friendships, it's good. It feels good in the moment because you have someone to vent to and talk to and all of that. But at the end of the day, speaking of the theme that we have going on with commitment challenges and really embracing who you are, you never got to finish whatever it is you went out there for. So you leave that space when you're just social, when you have the intention of getting down to business, whatever business looks like for you, you leave that space feeling like, man, I just, he or she they were so cool, but we never got to do what we need to do. And now you're rescheduling your schedule because you promise each other that you're going to catch up and really go in, and you never get there. And now there's this misalignment that comes with it because the next phone call or video chat or in-person coffee tea meeting that you have kind of starts where it was, or someone has to be really awkward and say, okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to jump right in. But I have to say that we have one of the best relationships when it comes to just rocking that, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to just say that teeter-totter, that balanced seesaw of being able to say, hey girl, how are you? You good? You feel better? All right, let's 5 minutes here. Let's jump into business. And then we come right back to relating to each other at that personal level. But we always take care of business, which is important so that neither one of us feel like our schedules are just out of whack because of, all of this chumming that we're doing instead of being who we're supposed to be and tapping into, which Sacred is going to get into in a few minutes, tapping into our goddess flow, because it's important. And that means you have to own every aspect of you, not just your femininity and your sister girlness, but your power. And if you are an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur leader, you have a power in you that has to be pressed out in a very sophisticated way. And we're going to talk about that. So let me tell you why you should be listening to Miss Sacred Walker, because she is incredible. In addition to being a holistic leader, someone who has an executive director background, not only in her business, but a host of degrees. And if I go down the list, you'll probably be mad, but let's just start with a few. Sacred Walker has earned her master's degree in divinity from the Union Theological Seminary and their psychiatric program and their religion program. She also is a board certified trainer in trauma and everything that affects the dramatic sense of someone tapping into their inner health, their sexual health, their mindfulness. She is incredible on all levels. But in addition to all of that, that's just her background. That was just her preparation for where she is right now. She leads and is the executive director of Kumba Health LLC, a woman-led health and advocacy organization that convenes holistic retreats, workshops, and all kinds of intimate opportunities to play. That's the word I'm going to use, the opportunities to play for practitioners who want to exemplify the core principles as leaders to their own community members. Sacred Walker, welcome to Balance Boldly.
Thank you. And this humbling introduction by such a dynamic woman. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, wow. Thank you. And this is nothing. Your resume is like 25 pages long. So that you are incredible. Please tell everyone a little bit about you and what got you to jump out into the world of entrepreneurship, dealing with that transition coming from a professional into the entrepreneurial space, specifically through the platform that is known as Kumba Health.
Well, I have to say that it was from both the training, but also recognizing a gap in the market. Mm-hmm. I was doing a lot of work around supporting the mental health of various marginalized communities, diverse, inclusive environments, etc. And what I realized was that even though I was very much a part of the holistic health, supporting stress management, supporting everything from coordinating care to making sure that people's physiological health, spiritual health, emotional health was taken care of, that there was a gap. That the very people that I was working around were burning out. And the very models of leadership oftentimes lent themselves to unhealthy ways of relating, oftentimes lent themselves to feeling exhausted myself at the end of the day, and oftentimes led myself to feeling, as you would say, feeling out of balance. Mm-hmm. And so what came to me very clearly was that there needed to be a bridge. There needed to be a bridge between mental health and leadership. There needed to be a bridge that, especially for those who lead in compassionate ways, whether you're philanthropic and you have a good heart, or whether you are a service provider, whether you are a healthcare provider, whether you are a clinician, and you come from this place of just wanting to give good into the world. Sometimes people give so much and give from a place of exhaustion, and then they stop and they get ill. And so what I realized was so important was for me to be a part of the solution of preventing stress-related illnesses from the top and expanding. And so that's what Kumba Health has been birthed out of. It's been birthed out of this place of having people come in and play and have an amazing time and laugh and move and breathe and remember what brought them to giving in the first place. And in doing so, also helping to find some creative health solutions. And it came from a place of me nearly burning out multiple times, of going into the emergency room and realized, you know what, I cannot be the only one. And after doing research, I found out that I wasn't. So now I'm committed. I'm committed to leading in healthier ways and helping each and every individual on from a micro to a macro level prevent stress-related illnesses so you can rise.
That is pretty amazing. And, on a personal level, I relate to that, and an academic level, because that's what my whole entire dissertation was about. And we connected on that on, multiple levels, just from our background as clinicians and, through social work and psychology and as therapists and as sexual health specifically trained people, as well as through the trauma therapy that you had. But something I noticed that many people don't have, I know for me, personally, I don't have it. You delved into, and I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg, so it's part of my question. You also have a background in Ayurveda. Did I say that right? Ayurveda?
Yes, I trained in Ayurveda.
Ayurveda, thank you.
It's a form of traditional medicine that comes out of India. Basic introductory training in Ayurveda, yoga, and mindfulness that occurred while I was training in my divinity degree and before I did my inpatient residency. So that was bringing in holistic medicine and learning the ways that herbs can be a form of helping people to be powerful and have good things in their body at the same time.
Which I think is such a good differentiator, because I know just what I know about homeopathic healthcare and everything that you're supposed to take away from it, and being very mindful of what allopathic is, there's a place for allopathic and there's a place for homeopathic. And when the two merge together, they can be really powerful, but being really careful with that, because there's a lot of shame in having to pull away from allopathic healthcare and vice versa. If you are someone who's in a homeopathic state and that's what you grew up with and that's what specifically because of stress-induced illnesses that are coming from this world that's really fast-paced and all the trials and tribulations we have, and then you have to default back to allopathic medicine or vice versa. You never believed in that homeopathic stuff, and now you find that the allopathic stuff isn't working for you. And for some people, there's a shame attached to that. Like, oh, well, for whatever reason, I'm so crazy. That's a word we use very openly, or I'm so messed up. It's obviously me, so I'm going to have to turn to something else. And I'm sure because of the various different ways that you help people and all the internal and external challenges that they bring to you when they face you and they say, I need help, whatever way that they come to you, through the smaller micro retreats you lead into the bigger long-term ones, as well as the monthly workshops. However you meet these people and they stand before you and say, you know what, this is more than depression. This is more than anxiety. And I know it, because what's being treated right now isn't helping. And that you talk about creative therapy and dramatic art play as another way to heal yourself. And I know that is a big component of what you do and your compassionate therapeutic methods that you use. But with that, do you find that more people are starting to kind of come out of nowhere? We always knew that they were there, obviously, but they're kind of popping out of nowhere saying, listen, I need a different way to get the result that I need. And I need it because I feel guilty or vulnerable because of all the things that I've tried. Like, I'm feeling like a bat case because I've tried XYZ things for 5 years and nothing's working. So they're kind of seeing your outlet as a kind of a last hope resort that you and your team can really help them. Are you seeing that at all?
I am, actually. I found there's been an increase of individuals finding me on Google or finding me on Psychology Today or reaching me through my link meetme.so/initial-consult1 and setting up time to meet with me. I'm finding that on an individual level and also on a team level that more and more people are struggling with, what does it mean to long for something? What does it mean to claim your desires and be okay with what you desire? And that's a layered word, right? You can desire to have a promotion, or you can desire to have a stronger relationship with your partner and have better intimacy. I mean, it really does vary, but just the ability to know that your desires are okay. And so what's really fun and beautiful is that it can range. I really see it as a finely tailored menu for individuals who come. I have a soul care model, and they can choose from any one of the 5. It's multi-sensory learning. So they can come and say, you know what, I'm actually really interested in that. I really want to incorporate play. And so we can play with, what does it mean for you to reclaim that part of you, that God part of you, tap into that desire? What does it mean for you to be okay with getting what you want and knowing that you deserve it, right? Transforming that pain to power. What does that mean? And then there are individuals that I just did a training recently, because I also do corporate training around stress management and around looking at how to build. If you visit the khhp.org website /development trainer, through there I found that there are desires around, yes, I have this job that I love, but there's something pulling me to start my own business.
Yes.
There's something pulling me to fulfill this purpose that I have of being an artist. There's something pulling me to go to medical school. And so being able to say that, yes, the practical side is important, and having the didactic, being able to talk it through because I have the clinical background and so on. But if it's also causing you a stomachache every time you go to work, then you can pick something else from the menu and say, okay, I know that Sacred specializes in looking at the ways that what's happening outside of the body affect the body.
Yes.
So let me pay attention to that stomachache. And if I have it every time I walk through the doors at work, then maybe it's time for me to take a look at that. That doesn't mean drop everything, but it is a, as you would say, a moment to pause, a permission to pause, which I love that phrase. and so I find that is the opening that people have when they do pick up the phone or go to the link or come to one of our retreats, is that there is an opportunity to say, what am I ready for, and what is now a shift that is so much better to invest in for myself and for our team.
I love that. You know, you and I will not take a pause at all, and we'll keep going. So I'm going to take a quick moment to just give homage to our amazing sponsors who have been there for us, who continue to propel our message forward in various different ways across their platforms as well. And if you are listening to this and you want to be a sponsor, all you have to do is send me an email at asknaketa@thigpro.com. We'll be right back. This segment of Breaking Expectations is brought to you by Millennial Leadership, a global advising network powered by youadvise.me. Millennial Leadership is engaging today's leaders for career success, one city at a time. Go to millennialleadership.youadvise.me for more information. Welcome back to Balance Boldly. We are in the room with Sacred Walker, Executive Director of Kumba Health, a holistic place where everyone can find exactly what they need. Her organization is incredible, and she was just breaking down soul care for us. So if you didn't hear that already, you definitely want to rewind and hear everything that she mentioned. So Sacred, I have to ask you, because you know I'm in love with the goddess flow, right? The royalty flow, tapping into your inner goddess. I know that you are sitting in your goddess attire right now.
And it's all my regalia. I need everyone to close their eyes and imagine a flowing gown, because I sure did dress up for this meeting.
Ooh, yes, I know that's right. So tell, for everyone who's unfamiliar, what does it mean to, kind of shake the shame and tap into your goddess and create your own flow? What does that mean for many people if they're just trying to figure out how to get there?
Okay, so I'm gonna drop a note that if you want to experience it in person, and you are based in New York or going to be visiting at the end of February, at the end of March, or for our getaway in the Hamptons in April, please go ahead and check out khhp.org/events. And if you are women identified, go to that same link /women-ride. I'm going to give you a little taste of it now, but those will be opportunities. The next one is called Body Fabulous. That's skin your
Yes.
Using authentic movement to tap into what you're saying, using yoga, using play, improv, the arts to do so. I would say that each and every one of us has an inner child that longs to be joyful. And sometimes when we are filled with the responsibilities of life, especially as business owners, whether you are at the stage of launch or whether you have been running your business for decades, there's a way that sometimes we can be filled with over responsibility, and recognizing that can not always get us to where we want, because there's a innovation in the play. That's what's so beautiful. There's innovation in that playful space that can actually get us to that next level. And so that's what we help people to do is actually subtly help people next level up through play. So what I recommend is for everyone who's on the call right now, on the radio, listening in, tuning in, to do one thing every week where they honor their inner child. And that's what it means to tap into your goddess flow. It's an opportunity to take a moment to grab a crayon. This sounds wild. To grab your whatever it may be, to grab something in your home, a marker, a magazine, something, and just see what comes out. Because out of that will be something that you have been longing for that you may or may not have got to tap into yet. And so I give myself one night a week. Mm-hmm. I call it my goddess night, where I get dressed up similar to what you all can imagine now. And I give myself space to play. And having also a background as a dancer, mm-hmm. and someone who's a poet and a playwright, I find that when I give myself a little bit of music and I play some really beautiful tunes that speak to my spirit, there are things that will outpour, and there's a lightness that I will have afterwards that will carry over into my business the next day. And so that's what we provide, are these sanctuary spaces to help you tap into that. And so that's the intention of what that looks like. But sometimes words don't always capture it. So I'm really going to encourage everyone to try it and reach out to me at sacredwalker@khhp.org and let me know what comes. I'd be glad to hear of what your goddess and God selves discover.
Absolutely. And do you have anything happening online for some of our global folk? Because I know you've traveled the world, so you have definitely got customers all over the place and clients as well. Is there somewhere that for anyone who's not local to New York, like yourself and myself, and many of the listeners that are tuning in certainly are from the tri-state area, but for those who aren't, I know you do some stuff. I'm trying not to give it away. I want you to tell it, that's happening, virtually.
Yes, I do. So I've found that in meeting people from West Africa, India, just such an array, Holland, that are such beautiful spirits, we've, committed to staying in contact, but that sometimes has been challenging. And so what I've decided to launch, actually the first kickoff comes out on Monday, January the 30th, and the last Saturday of each month will be a broadcast of that. The second one in February is going to actually be going to be participated by your host, Naketa Thigpen. She's going to be a guest there on Love Medicine TV. And Love Medicine TV, you grab a cup of tea or your favorite brew, you go ahead and join us. And each month we have inspiring talks about how different leaders in the world are the love medicine the world needs in changing times. So if you are a healthcare provider, a clinician, a philanthropist, whether you are living in Lagos, whether you are in Goa, India, whether you are in Newark, New Jersey, you can tune in at 7 p.m. the last Monday of each month to be able to join our Love Medicine TV. And during that time, it is a pre-recorded broadcast, but during that time, you'll get a chance to interact with people all over the world who have beautiful and fierce lives and hearts just like yourselves. And it's an invitation to remember to be the light that the world needs now more than ever. So we are the love medicine, and it's going to be a strong movement. And so I would be honored if every single person on this radio broadcast joins the video that's coming.
Well, I'll be tuning in, not just to the ones that I'm participating in from a dialogue perspective and through the panel, but because I really believe in your mission and your vision behind it. And I think what you're doing is incredible. And you're not just talking about leaving an imprint in the world and taking your story and your pain and the preparation you had and, put it into this space of, the complain a lot drain. You're really pulling from your experience, and you created something that is healing for many, many people. So I'm excited. And we'll definitely put all the information you provide provide about love medicine right at the bottom of this link for iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spreaker, you name it. Everywhere we are, we're going to make sure it's down there because I think it's really important. And the message that you're giving is essential. That's really the phrase that I was looking for. It is truly, truly essential. So I have to ask you before we get into some of the normal kind of like, what do you do to take care of yourself stuff? For expectations, ciao. So when it comes to expectations, we have many expectations for ourselves. We're ultra achievers. We've accomplished a lot and we're nowhere near done yet. And we've also learned how to balance as much as humanly possible. It is something that we focus on every single day because every day has its own new challenges and curveballs. So there's expectations that we have of our own ability to get something done or to get something finished, from a productivity and a priority management space. But there's also those expectations of our loved ones and our close friends and family to be something or to not be something, to accomplish or not accomplish something that holds a lot of people back because they have a hard time with breaking those expectations and kind of making it clear, not just so much from a boundary of what they will no longer accept from someone, but just being okay with saying, I don't have to live up to your expectation of me. I have my own, which may be greater than or parallel or a complete lateral move away from what you might have thought. And I am positive that you and or your clients have experienced that. So if you wouldn't mind just sharing what people can do to break those expectations when it's something that's really binding them and harming their ability to tap into their goddess.
Absolutely. I think that's an excellent question. And I think it's one that from my experience in relating to you, that you handle extremely well. And I think that it inspires me often to be able to take back to my own circles of the teams that I work with and the individuals. And I have to say what seems to come up quite a bit, especially for those who lead compassionate and conscious lives or who have an ethical compass that's one that they want to give, is that oftentimes what I heard in our last retreat was, Sacred, I feel like I'm constantly being pulled by my family and I don't know where to put up the barrier of saying too much. Or I heard from a team that we recently worked with that won our last raffle that they felt like, they really loved the work, but there was oftentimes a sense of exhaustion at the end of the day from having to give so much, or from an individual that I'm meeting with that recently named that felt like he had to be perfect all of the time, and to do anything but perfection meant that he was letting everyone down. And so I actually pulled an affirmation card for our conversation, and I didn't know what it was going to be for, and I want to read it out loud to you as a way to remember what the source of this is. Speaking of love medicine, right? So the affirmation card is, I am worth loving. I do not have to earn love. I am lovable because I exist. Others reflect the love I have for myself. And so I was wondering, like, okay, Spirit, what is this card going to relate to? And I want to really name and claim that this is it. That I am teaching other people how to love me.
Yes.
And so if I have learned, based on, I grew up, very resilient upbringing that has taught me quite a bit about giving too much and hoping that I will get the approval of others. But if I can remember that I am lovable just because I exist, that was my huge wake-up call. Like, wait a minute. You're telling me that I am not going to suddenly get your validation after writing this 15th check? Hold on. Okay, so I can write the first check and say, let me make sure that everything else is in alignment. Let me make sure that the teams that I'm supporting are in alignment. Let me make sure that the Kumba Health team is taking care of themselves. And I'm doing the same for myself because I am lovable because I exist. And so I think that it sounds pretty straightforward, but I find it to actually be pretty dynamic. So my encouragement would be to take that as a notation, as an affirmation, and do that first thing in the morning. Take a moment before you walk out the door or before you turn on the power of technology and programs, is to remember that no matter what, you do not have to earn love. You are lovable because you exist. And I think that that's a game changer.
And it's very powerful because there are so many people who really don't feel loved for various reasons, because of divorces, failed relationships, because they didn't become the attorney, doctor, whatever that someone said that they had to be in order to be qualified as successful, you know, whatever that is for them, because they failed at business or they've lost money or lost children. You know, all those things definitely damage your ability to see yourself as being, you know, not only open to possibly loving other people, but availing yourself to the possibility that you are deserving of love. I love that you said that. I know I've used the word love like 20 times just now, but I absolutely I love it. I love it. So Sacred, tell us, how do you take care of yourself in addition to your Goddess Flow day, when you're giving yourself, you know, permission to play and tap into your inner child? What else do you do when you just, you know, want to take time unapologetically and just pause?
I am someone that finds respite in nature, and I take a moment. Usually I have my goddess night and then I have my artist morning. It's usually really early in the morning. I'm lucky that I live close enough to a waterfront that I can do this. But it's really anything that can find you some kind of like 5 minutes of respite, is that I go out to the water and I am still and I speak out loud what I desire, and I speak out loud what I'm letting go. So I go through a list. It's usually I do that if I'm able to be by water, but if I'm traveling or if I'm on business or obviously on a flight for, say, 21 hours, I will take my, that's real. For those, you know, folks who travel, you know, going to Chennai itself is a distance, right? So I will go through in a journal and I will have a list. So I'll put out, every morning I usually do this, wherever I am. I'll put on it want, need, desire, deserve, and wish for. And so I'll answer each one. It's like, what do I want? And there's no judgment. What do I need? Really practical, right? Because at the end of the day,
yes,
you need to hit the bottom line. Okay, so want, need, desire. What am I calling in? What is it that, and what do I deserve? What do I am clear about I deserve, right? And what do I wish for? And so each day, it really helps me to tease out what it is that is. Now, I find that for those who live in inner cities especially, or who don't have access to nature, having that sanctuary is hard. And so what Kumbha Health is offering is what we are, it's a title information because it's literally information as we speak, but we are offering a sanctuary space out in the Hamptons for individuals, for teens who need that getaway, but may not have it on a regular basis. So if you can do that every morning or once a week, but you also need a weekend away, or you need to have the opportunity where you can walk on trails, lean back, sit by the pool, play tennis, then we are going to be launching in about 2 weeks. So we're going to be, you know, please stay tuned to look out for that on the events page at Kumbha Health. We will be launching our sanctuary space. And so that'll be an opportunity where you can have the more extended time, so that'll help carry through those little micro retreats that you give to yourself each day.
I love that. Well, you know, I can't wait to have a little sanctuary time myself from this 16-year-old and this 20-year-old child is driving me insane. I can't. It is real. The struggle is real.
Yes, please come sit by the pool.
Yes.
And exhale and just take it in. I mean, it's 2 acres of land, and we're just so honored to be able to offer that to you.
That is so beautiful. In addition to the sanctuary place, which is incredible, you run monthly micro retreats, right?
Yes, we do.
This is pretty awesome.
Yes, so those micro retreats, they vary. So there are 2 parts to that. Offer stress management trainings that are corporate trainings. We will come in and offer our unique multisensory model, which means people who might fall asleep if they're, you know, doing too much hearing and they feel overwhelmed, we'll get them up and moving. Folks who feel like, okay, if I have to move, I'm going to be overwhelmed, we'll do more talking. So we really do fine tune it to your team. So we offer those, and we try to cap it at about 2 a month. just to make sure that we can give you the time to tell us what you want and we can really tailor it.
Right.
And then at the last Saturday of each month, we have a micro retreat that's specifically for women of various gender expressions and experiences out in the world, where women who are oftentimes giving a lot of themselves can get back and plugged in. So let me make sure that I trace it back. Our February 25th is the one called Body Fabulous, and that's the one that's going to be reclaiming the skin you're in. It's happening about 2 weeks after Valentine's Day, so you can gift your partner, you can gift yourself, you can bring a friend, and that's going to be happening in Union Square, in a Union Square exclusive location, and you can learn about that at Kumba Health's Women-Rise page. The end of March is perfect timing for us to start talking about finances, where we're going to be investing, either if you're someone who is coming on the other side of tax season, or if you're really starting off your fiscal year. We want to make sure that you are starting it off maximizing your investments and increasing your financial flow in these changing times around where people are investing their funds.
Absolutely.
So we're bringing in an expert finance individual that I've known for many, many years, who's going to be leading the track on that. And we want to make sure that people just really start off the year strong. So that's going to be happening the last Saturday in March. Our April retreat is going to be the retreat that is going to really shift Kumba Health's focus on being a local urban retreat to the retreat where we get a chance to take a group. It's going to be limited to a group of 20. So that's going to come out in 2 weeks. I'm really going to invite those who are interested, tune in, add yourself to the Kumba Health membership right away, because the folks who will get the first hit of these tickets to go away to the Hamptons with us will be those who are Kumba Health members. And then after that, about a day or two, we will release it to the general public. We're going to take 20 women out to the Hamptons. It's going to be called Wild, Women Inspired to Live and Lead Dynamically. And they will have an opportunity to come with us to, as mentioned, walk on the trails. There's going to be walking meditation. There's going to be an in-house yogini that's going to be leading an in-house yoga flow. And if it's warm enough, we might even be able to go to the beach, which is about 10 minutes away. And in the afternoon, we're going to be plugging back in and doing something called Goddess Arts. And you'll get a chance to experience what I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And incorporating some play and tapping into the beautiful, dynamic woman that you are. And so we'll have an opportunity. All food is included, all amenities included. Really just show up. Shuttle included from the LIRR or drive-in, and it's in Hampton Bays Beach. And that's happening April 21st through the 23rd. And you can show up, put your feet up, and enjoy. There'll be plenty of time to respite. Each of the semi-private rooms have jacuzzis, so those who are interested in those rooms, please book it early, because I am sure that will be taken up soon. And you can also do groups of 4 as well, which is going to be a nice package. So you can take time, participate in the workshops, or go out on the tennis court, or play basketball and do your thing. We're really open to you coming as you are. And then the May retreat is a mothers and dynamic women's makeover. We're partnering with makeup artists to give you a makeover. You can also go ahead and shop, because there'll be shoes surrounding you, and everything that you purchase will come with a discount. And so that is a gift. We partnered with a local boutique that you can enjoy. And so then that's a part of that series. And if you want to learn about other dynamic and powerful things that are coming up for us, you can continue just to keep track of us on the khhp.org/events page. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited for all that's to come, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you either in New York, in the Hamptons, or online real soon.
Yes, absolutely. And Facebook, that's one of your primary places for your social network, right? What's your Facebook page?
Absolutely. The Love Medicine page is facebook.com/love, LOVE, Medicine TV. And the Love Medicine TV Facebook page is where the Love Medicine TV broadcast will be happening on January the 30th at 7 p.m. and each of the last Mondays of each month there. But honestly, there are going to be regular updates on that page where you can go ahead and check out and be inspired. And the Kumba Health general page, where you can check out events in addition to the Love Medicine wing, is facebook.com/KHHP network. And that's where you can find out about regular updates, or, put yourself down on the list for the Hamptons retreat, etc. That'll be a really good way to plug into either our individual counseling that we offer, couples coaching, or, work around training teams to live and lead healthier lives.
I'm so excited. This is awesome. And of course, we will, for all of you who are listening, who are driving or managing some kids or trying not to be a teenager, all those things, we'll make sure that we put all of the exact spelling and everything right below the links, as well as, of course, all of the major details, access to Sacred Walker's bio, just everything that you need that's significant to you to get in contact with her will be on our show notes page. So I will definitely give that to you. I want to make sure that I say a prime thank you to our featured guest expert today. Sacred, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of what I know is a very full schedule for you and just allowing this time to be present with us and to share details, in every area that you have brought forth thus far. I want to thank you so much for being here with us today.
And thank you to everyone who is tuned in to this amazing woman show. Please continue to tune in and support. I'm just continuously inspired by the breathtaking way that you are compassionate and bold in your own regard. And for anyone who is a supporter or who is listening, who uses the code VIP on any of our services, you will get an additional promotional discount just as an additional thank you for being such a supporter of Naketa.
Oh, thank you. See, y'all get perks when you run in my circle. I love that. Thank you. And Sacred, I'll make sure that I put that down. If I don't already have that information from you, then, after we're done, I want to make sure that I get that so I can spell it all out on the show notes page as well for anyone who doesn't have access to a pen right now. So I thank you so much for being who you are in your skin, feeling and being in touch with who you are, being okay with your goddess flow and sharing your message to the world. I super uber appreciate you. And I mean that from the bottom of my soul, child. I really do. Thank you so much. All right. I want to thank you as well for allowing us both to have an opportunity to invest these seeds of growth and development in your life. Balance Boldly is not just a podcast. It is a campaign to shake the shame, all those things that are stunting your growth and getting in the way of your excellent best. If you are a woman, then it is getting in the best of your internal goddess flow. And if you are a male, it is getting in the way of your God flow. Not that many of you have any issues with that, but that's my own bias because I live with two of you. But with that said, I'm just so grateful to be able to continue doing what I do because I love it. I'm excited that you tuned in. And as a special homage to Sacred Walker, she probably doesn't know this, but at the end of every episode, I like to kind of recap something major that stuck out for me in the form of a little gentle honesty. And in Sacred's words, kind of a summation, I hope I don't get it too much out of whack. She said to be mindful to tap into your goddess flow by giving yourself permission to play, and it connects with your inner child. That is the best way for you to reach that deeper part of yourself and really get in tune with what she does when she goes out to the water every morning and really understand what you want, what you need, what you desire, what are you calling in, and what do you deserve. So we thank you again, Sacred Walker, for that little gentle honesty that you poured into my soul. That was my takeaway because I learned something from every one of our expert guests, as well as what we're able to share with you. And I encourage you all to take in what Sacred and I talked about today and enjoy the balance of your day, but do it boldly.